Yo, check it. This is basic Punkonomics. We out here in the desert sucking on blood money cover dicks. Alright, I'm just joking around here. I love CM Punk, alright? I really love CM Punk. But I have to admit, as one of the biggest fans of CM Punk, this was not it, alright? This was just not it. So I just got done watching Friday Night SmackDown, alright? And I was really hoping we would finally get to see a promo battle, a proper promo battle between John Cena and CM Punk, which is something we've all been asking for a very long time, because this is a dream rivalry for a lot of people like me who grew up watching John Cena versus CM Punk. And after watching 30 minutes worth of commercials, after watching a 2.5 hour nothing burger of a SmackDown, what did we get, huh? What did we get? We got CM Punk coming out here sounding like an 11-year-old white kid who listened to rap music for the first time in his life. Now, okay, fine, I'm not going to be too harsh on this promo because I do get it. I get the point. I get the idea. I get what they're trying to achieve here. CM Punk is supposed to copy John Cena. He's supposed to copy his gimmick, just like John Cena did last week to CM Punk. And the moment where CM Punk came out with basic Thuganomics, yeah, that was a cool moment, I'm not gonna lie. It was a very cool moment. I did pop for that. And CM Punk did have some good lines here and there, you know. He talked about Nikki Bella. He talked about John Cena burying talent. He talked about, John Cena's "You Can't Wrestle" chant and all that stuff. So yeah, he had a few good lines here and there. But the problems are, one, CM Punk has no rhythm. He has zero rhythm. Let's just get that out of the way. It was plain obvious this guy does not have rhythm. And it's fine, I don't have rhythm either. But it's not a problem. CM Punk is still CM Punk. He's still one of the best on the mic. So just stick to that. Instead, we got him trying to act like John Cena, and it was just, really corny, really cheesy, and he was really stumbling upon his words over and over and over and over again. And that's not it. Problem number two, the Saudi crowd didn't understand like most of these references. And you can't really blame them either, I guess so. I just feel like they should have been a little more smart while writing this promo. Because, it is the Saudi crowd they're writing for, so they should have known that they're not going to get all these references. And lastly, problem number three, which is the biggest one, so we really got to talk about it. Now look, I really wouldn't mind this, I really would have a lot of fun with this. I really would just laugh at this if, and only if, this rivalry wasn't ending tomorrow. This rivalry is ending tomorrow, man, less than 24 hours away. And this is the segment we're getting on the Go Home show? If this happened last week, and the pipe bomb happened the week before that, I really wouldn't mind it. I really wouldn't. But now the rivalry is ending tomorrow, man. We're less than 24 hours away from their final match, and this is what we get. Instead of a proper promo battle between John Cena and CM Punk one last time. But okay, fine, if you want to do this promo on the Go Home show in Saudi Arabia on SmackDown, sure, go ahead. But you gotta continue this rivalry. You gotta have it go until SummerSlam. There's so much more juice to be squeezed out of this rivalry, and they're not gonna be doing that. Why? Oh, of course, we gotta do Cody versus Cena and another stinker once again at SummerSlam. Get out of here, man. Get the hell out of here. This feud has been fumbled. They fumbled the bag with CM Punk versus John Cena, and it blows my mind because this was the easiest feud ever to pull off. This is literally a dream feud for a lot of us guys. And yes, I'm not going to sit here and lie and tell you that this feud has just been garbage and totally bad. No, but you can't deny the fact that this feud has not lived up to our expectations. And it sucks. It really sucks because after everything that's been going on in the year of 2025 with WWE, my expectations weren't even that high. Because yeah, we got a really good segment last week with the pipe bomb. And I guess we got a pretty fun segment here tonight with, CM Punk trying to spit some bars. But the point is, this is not the type of promo or a segment that you close a rivalry with. It's just not. Think about CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. Right before their Hell in a Cell match, what kind of segment did we get between those two? Did we get CM Punk showing up with a kilt? Or did we get Drew McIntyre showing up with a, straight edge armband and a lip piercing? No. We didn't get that. We got CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, like good old classic CM Punk and Drew McIntyre cutting an intense promo about how much they want to kill each other at Hell in a Cell. That's what we need. That's the kind of segment or a promo we need to close out a rivalry. These type of segments where, one guy copies the other guy, copies their gimmick, dresses up like them and all that stuff to show how stupid they are. It's supposed to happen in the middle of a feud, not at the very end. It makes no sense to have this be at the very end. It makes no sense, man. This is booking 101. But of course, this is Triple H we're talking about here. We're talking about Jean-Paul Levesque here, one of the worst bookers in the history of bookers. What did we expect, huh? Did we really expect a good rivalry out of Triple H? God damn it, man. It's our fault. It's our goddamn fault. The only way they can save this feud is if it continues after Night of Champions. Oh, but what were we doing? Cody versus Cena at SummerSlam? I don't care! I don't care, man. You know what? Hear me out. Move Cody Rhodes to Raw. Alright, somehow with some kind of shenanigans. I don't care. Move Cody Rhodes to Raw so that we can get Cody Rhodes versus Gunther at SummerSlam for the world title. And then You can easily continue John Cena versus CM Punk. Easily. And then, since you're doing the draft after SummerSlam anyways, you can bring Cody Rhodes back to SmackDown, or you can bring John Cena to Raw, and you can continue John Cena versus Cody Rhodes, where, Cody Rhodes can beat John Cena for the title, maybe at Crown Jewel in, Perth, Australia. That's it. It's that easy. It's that goddamn easy. The fact that we're doing John Cena versus CM Punk one last time as a rivalry, and we're not even doing a promo battle, a proper promo battle between the two, where they're just going, they're going at each other, playing their biggest hits. The fact that we're not even getting that one last time, it's absolutely sickening, man. It's absolutely sickening. So yeah, there we go, guys. Instead of having CM Punk and John Cena throw their best insults at one another one last time, we have CM Punk coming out here spitting bars that don't even rhyme. Wait a minute, that kind of rhymed, Why am I low-key spitting better bars than CM Punk in this video? Yeah, I did see a lot of people say that they did like this segment. I get it, like I said, I would enjoy this. I would have fun with this if this rivalry wasn't ending tomorrow. This is the kind of segment that you do in the middle of a rivalry, not at the very end, alright? Not at the very end, especially at a rivalry of this magnitude. So get out of here with that BS. Oh, and I just realized, another problem with the segment is that John Cena didn't say anything. He didn't say a single word. He just yapped a bunch of stuff, before CM Punk came out. We just got a basic heel Cena yap sesh, and then CM Punk showed up, started spitting some, mediocre bars, and then, John Cena was just, quiet for the whole thing. He didn't say a single word. And his final segment ever with CM Punk, John Cena didn't say a single word. Let that sink in. And yeah, even with all of that, people are going to tell you with a straight face that this was a great promo, this was a great segment to close off this rivalry. Get out of here, man. Get the hell out of here. Do you guys remember that one promo we got on the Raw after Elimination Chamber with CM Punk, where he called out John Cena, he called out The Rock and all of that stuff? How do we go from that to CM Punk saying you're going to lose to Kendrick because bitch, you're my Drake? Are you kidding me? This is the state of the World Wrestling Federation now, huh? This! We got two veterans, two GOATs revisiting their rivalry one last time, and the last thing they say to each other is a Drake and Kendrick reference. Are you kidding me, man? Get out of here. So anyways, yeah, guys, I'm done talking about this whole CM Punk and John Cena segment. Whatever, let's just move on from that. And with that being said, let's get to the rest of the show. Let's review Friday Night SmackDown. So the show kicks off with Cody Rhodes. And again, just like last week, before he can say anything, he gets interrupted by Randy Orton. So Randy Orton gets in the ring. Both of them got big pops, I'm not going to lie. The Saudi crowd is actually pretty good. So anyways, Randy Orton picks up the mic and he says, Cody, I just watched you have the match of the year with Jey Uso on Monday Night Raw. And that's like, come on, man. Come on, that was not the match of the year, and you know it. You and me both know that that was not the match of the year. So yeah, get out of here with that BS. Anyways, yeah, and then Randy Orton says, well, the reason why I'm here, Cody, is because, and then, the feed just cuts. Yeah, the feed just cuts. I thought it was a problem with my, Watch Wrestling website, because I live in the US and I was pirating the show. But no, there really was an error with the broadcast, and as I was wondering why, I got an error message on the screen that said a camel was munching on the cables, so the broadcast was cut, and that was pretty funny, I'm not gonna lie. The fact that was the reason why, we missed the first half an hour of SmackDown, that was pretty funny. But then anyways, 30 minutes later, we're finally back, and then we just move on from Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. I thought they would get them back and do it again and all that stuff, but no, we just moved on to the next match. Whatever, I guess they did record it, and I think they're going to air it on USA Network at 8 p.m. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I don't think this promo was really anything, judging by what I saw, the crowd footages and all that stuff. I don't think it was really anything. I think Cody Rhodes was just a Randy Orton, you're my mentor, but I'm still going to beat you. That's pretty much it. I'm sure that's all Cody Rhodes said, and I'm pretty sure Randy Orton didn't say much either. He would have just said, Cody, I love you so much, Cody. I've known you since you were a kid, Cody, and all of that stuff, but I am still gonna beat you, Cody. That's it, That's all I'm pretty sure they said. If we did actually get something crazy in this whole, face-off, and I somehow don't know about it, and I find out when they air it on USA Network at 8 p.m., I am gonna make a video on it. I'm gonna make a separate video on it, but I'm guessing they're not. I'm guessing it's just gonna be a basic promo segment, and that really sucks, because this is Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton we're talking about here. We're supposed to be building this up like a big match. Which is why, like I've been saying, this should have been saved for the future instead of being a one-off King of the Ring final match. So whatever, man. Let's just move on. Anyways, then we see Jimmy Uso versus JC Mateo, and it's like, come on, man. How many times are we going to see this? We've seen JC Mateo versus Jimmy Uso already, and why are we doing this in the first place, man? This whole Bloodline lore in the year 2025 is getting really old. It's getting really boring. It's getting really stale. I don't care about this whole Bloodline versus Bloodline thing. I don't care about the Samoan drama and all that stuff anymore, alright? It died with Roman Reigns, it died with the Usos, it died with Sami Zayn. Those guys carried the Bloodline story. That's when the Bloodline story was good, and we saw that already. That story's done, and now whatever they're doing right now is just a rip off of that, and it sucks. It absolutely sucks, and I don't care about it at all. JC Mateo was clearly somebody they just signed just to, extend the Bloodline feud a little bit more, just so they can drag it a little bit more. But it's clear as day that this guy has nothing to offer. In ring, he has nothing to offer. Maybe he had a couple of good matches, or maybe a lot of good matches outside of WWE. But in WWE, he has nothing to offer. Because obviously, it's common knowledge that WWE tones down everybody. So yeah, in ring, nothing to offer. On the mic, nothing to offer. He just stands there while, Solo Sikoa does all the talking. Just like, Jacob Fatu used to do. And my point gets proven every single week when this guy comes out here and gets zero reaction. Zero. So yeah, obviously JC Mateo beats Jimmy Uso, whatever, who cares? And then we see Jacob Fatu who saves, Jimmy Uso from a, post-match assault, whatever. Nobody cares about this, man. Nobody cares about this. And I'm guessing that at Night of Champions, during, Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa, we're going to see the debut of Hikuleo, and he's going to help Solo Sikoa win the US Championship. That's my prediction. Lock it in. And yeah, like I said, this feud just sucks. There's no saving it. Just end it as soon as possible. Let's just move on. Anyways, then we see Zelina Vega versus Julia for the US Championship. And, this was a pretty bad match. I'm not going to lie. It was pretty slow. It was pretty boring at some points. And it got really botchy at some points as well. Unfortunately, I think Julia should have stayed in NXT for a little longer, because I still don't think she's, used to the WWE style and stuff like that, because obviously, like I said with JC Mateo, WWE is a lot more toned down, and they want you to tone down your stuff, and I don't think Julia is adapted to that yet. She still looks like she's holding back a lot, and because of that, her matches seem very sloppy and botchy and stuff like that, unless she's in the ring with someone like, Jordan Grace or Stephanie Valkyrie or, maybe Roxanne Perez. So yeah, this match with Zelina Vega was really not it. It was, whatever. And obviously, as expected, Julia wins and becomes the new US champion. Whatever. That was the right call, I guess. Let's just move on. Anyways, then we see Andrade and Rey Fenix versus DIY. DIY got a huge pop, by the way. We were getting Johnny Wrestling chants here. I haven't heard that in years. So yeah, that was pretty cool. But yeah, I'm not going to lie. This was a very random match. But they low-key did steal the show, I'm not going to lie. This was probably the best part of the show. I enjoy this more than anything else. This was just a great match, man. Just a great match. Seeing Andrade and Johnny Gargano in the ring was very nostalgic. It reminds me of NXT Black and Gold back in 2018 and all that stuff. They had that classic, by the way, the 5-star classic. I still remember that match. Still one of my favorites ever. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And then in the end, Andrade and Rey Fenix get the win. And an amazing finish, by the way. The finish was just awesome. The, double finishers they did. So yeah, there's that. Great match, great everything. It's just a little bit random though, I'm not gonna lie. So let's just move on. Anyways, then we see the Street Profits versus the Wyatt Six. And it's like, I'm not even, I don't even care about this, man. I don't care about this. I don't care about the Wyatt Six, unfortunately. I've said this multiple times, I do like Wyatt Six. I do like that they're getting this, opportunity to, pay the tribute to Bray Wyatt and all that stuff. Because I love Bray Wyatt, at one point he was my favorite on the roster. But the problem is they're not doing anything good. There's nothing good for them. They're in a tag division with all these guys that are great in the ring, with guys like Motor City Machine Guns, with DIY, with Street Profits. And unfortunately, guys like Joe Gacy and, Dexter Lumis just can't hang with them. It's just unfortunate, but that's just facts. So yeah, this was a whatever match, it was pretty bad, I'm not gonna lie. And then obviously it ends the DQ, and then we get this big brawl with everybody in the tag division, and Street Profits stands tall. Whatever, let's just move on. Anyways, then we get Nia Jax versus Tiffany Stratton for the Women's Championship in the last women's standing match, and this was mediocre, I'm not gonna lie. It was mediocre, but I saw a lot of people glazing it online, and it's just like, I don't get it, man. This feud has just been drawn to death. I don't like this, it just sucks. This feud just sucks. It's a plain simple fact. Nothing they do seems new. It's nothing original. We've seen this before. So yeah, it was very hard for me to care about this match, but it wasn't totally bad either. It was just, it was mid. It was mid. I think that's the best way to describe this match. And anyways, then Naomi tries to cash in. And I don't know how this would work. How would a triple threat last woman standing work? Like, I don't get it, That's what Michael Cole said anyways, he said it would turn into a triple threat last women standing match. And, I don't know how that will work. But whatever, we don't get that, obviously, because Tiffany Stratton kicks her out of the ring. And she uses her briefcase to knock Nia Jax onto the tables. So yeah, Nia Jax stays down for a 10 count, and Tiffany Stratton retains. That's just it. Whatever, like I said, this was pretty mid, and I just hope that this feud is finally over, and Tiffany Stratton can move on to some, better things. Let's just move on. Oh wait, that was it. That was it for the show. So yeah, this was not a totally bad show, I'm not gonna lie, but it was a nothing burger of a SmackDown, because a lot of things we saw is just like, whatever, man, who cares? So I'm gonna give this like a 5.75 out of 10. not the worst show we've seen. We've got a whole lot worse, especially in 2025. We've got like 2 out of 10s and 1 out of 10s, but this was still a pretty bad show. It was still kind of a nothing burger of a show. And the fact that we had to wait for 30 minutes to, get to the show, and then all we saw was, Jimmy Uso's entrance, and then we went back to commercial, it was just, it was very frustrating. This was one of the worst experiences I've had while watching a wrestling show. Plain simple fact. So yeah, there's that. That's all I have to say for tonight's Friday Night SmackDown. So that is it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Peace out.